Hey guys, how's it going? Preparing here. So as I've mentioned in the past, we'll be playing Final Fantasy XIV, and that's coming up pretty soon. Actually, the beta phase 4, which is available to anyone who pre-ordered the game, is available in a day or two. And I kind of want to discuss some of the things that I've learned about the game. I am no expert on the game, but I have looked into it, and I'm sure my explanation will serve quite a few people very well. So first I'm going to go through the real basic stuff, and then maybe in the stuff that you can kind of expect with the game. So Final Fantasy is an MMO. It's a lot like what you can expect out of one if you play World of Warcraft. I'm sure a lot of things are very similar. The stats, however, are a little bit different. You have starting stats as you do on whatever other game, but you do get stat points as you progress with your character. I'm not exactly sure when you get them, but I believe you get a total of 30 customizable points. And you get a lot of stats on your gear, and you start with a decent amount of stats. And when you're picking your race, the only thing that you're really choosing is 1, the aesthetics, if you like how it looks, you can play that race, and 2, the stats. The stats on the starting races, I believe, varies from a minimum of 17 to a maximum of 23 in each particular stat, and obviously some are better than others at certain tasks because of this. So the stats in the game, you got strength. Strength is the scaling of the melee physical damage, and it's the block amount and parry amount. So when you block or parry an attack, you don't mitigate the entirety of the hit, you mitigate an amount, and that amount is increased by your strength. Then you have dexterity, which gives you a chance to dodge, and I believe it also does a chance to block, and dexterity scales your ranged weapon damage. So if you're playing like an archer or something like that. Then you have vitality. Vitality is life. You got int. Int is the damage scaling for a caster. You have mind, which is the healing scaling for a healer. And then you have piety, which is the resource pool. I believe it's only the mana pool though, but I could be wrong about that. So when you're making your character, you can kind of figure out what you want to do. I wanted to make a summoner. Now I want to do big dips, and to do big dips with a caster, I need a lot of int. So I try to go through the classes that have a lot of int and see if I like the way they look. And you guys kind of know how that went. When it comes to the classes, there's a little bit of complexity involved that some people are not familiar with after playing some of the other MMOs in the past. So the class is kind of like a two-tier system, and I think this is very important that I explain it correctly. So there's the first tier, which is your class. It's called a class. And then you have the second tier, which is a job. And a job is pretty much your end game class. So what that means is, I want to make a summoner, but summoner is not a class, summoner is a job. And to be a summoner, I have to level up a few classes. I believe for a summoner, I have to level up as an arcanist to 30, and as a thaumaturge to 15. And the way this works is, you pretty much make a character. If you want to make a summoner, you have to look up and see what class is required to become the summoner job. So I'm gonna, let's say I'm gonna start as a thaumaturge or a, I don't know, arcanist. I started an arcanist and I leveled to 30, and I'm 30, and I meet the arcanist requirement for being a summoner, but I can't become a summoner. And the reason I can't become a summoner is because I have the other requirement. I have to become a thaumaturge, and the way I do that is I go back to level 1. My character is actually scaled to level 1, and I start the game pretty much again, relatively fresh on the the character side of things. And as a result, there's some kind of strategy involved, because you can't repeat the quest that you did with your previous class. So there's a few starting zones. I believe there was 3, and you can go through one, level your arcanist, go through another, and level your thaumaturge, and then you can actually extend that even more. If you don't pick a job, you can have as many classes as you want. In fact, you can have as many classes as you want anyway, but you can't put them to use for every job. The way this works is, you can pick a job once you have the requirement, but you don't have to. If you don't pick a job, you get the class abilities of the other classes, but the early stuff mostly. So what this means is, if you want a lot of varied abilities from all the different classes out there, you can just not pick a job. And I don't really know how that'll go, but I'm sure some people will try it. But that is one of the extremes that you can experience in this game. Though if you do pick a job, this cross-class ability system only goes into a few. So as a summoner, for instance, which is what I want to make, I can get cross-class abilities from the base, which I already have an Arcanist, and the base, which I already have a Thaumaturge, and the healer. I believe it's called a Conjure. So I can get those cross-class abilities, and I can't use any others while using the Summoner job. That's kind of the idea there. So it's a two-tier system, and you kind of want to figure out what your end game is going to be and level up the according classes. This is important because, you know, some of the abilities require, you know, to get in the 30s, and to get in the 30s may take a few days. So, you know, you may want to, you know, figure out what you want to do on that front. As far as the rest of the MMO, they said that they delayed the 24-man rating. There's no like realm versus realm style PvP yet, but both those things will be coming in like November or some shit like that, as I understand it. Right now, you have some kind of PvP system that's like an arena, I've been told, and you have the PvE system where they have the 8-man raids, so you guys can have fun with that. And that's pretty much it. The content will hopefully be better as you know, the game develops. As far as the crafting and stuff, I didn't look too much into it, but it's largely interdependent, and it seems like there's a lot of grinding involved. So if you're into that, you guys can check that out. But most of the items, in fact, possibly all of what people have seen so far, have been told, is bind on equip. So you can have someone else craft stuff for you if you want, and you know, if not, level that shit up yourself. I believe there's going to be some kind of auction of systems, but I don't exactly know what people are going to be auctioning off, so I can't really talk on the economic side too much. When it comes to the actual play of the game seems it's pretty slow paced. From what I've seen, there's not a lot of movement going on in the boss fights that I've seen, but you know, that may not be what it's like. But the global cooldown is 2.5 seconds, and it is modified by certain haste factors, which I'm not exactly sure what they are. But it can be scaled down. I don't believe it can be scaled down too much, but considering that it is a global cooldown of 2.5 seconds, and if you look at the abilities, which I'll also include a link, most classes have a kind of system where the game prioritizes not the execution of the skills, but the order. So what that means is, like in World of Warcraft, when the global cooldown was like 1.5 and some abilities had like a 1, a lot of what it took to be really good in like a raiding environment was involved in, one, you know, using the correct abilities, but above that, maximizing your global cooldowns. And when the global cooldown is larger, when it's 2.5 seconds as opposed to 1.5 or 1, the decision making, the strategy is more important than it was previous in other games. So that's something to keep in mind, that you know, you don't have to play that well, but making the correct decisions is going to separate you from the crowd when it comes to being a good player in the game. As far as the rest of the stuff, you know, there's a lot of stuff to explore. I'll include a lot of resources for you guys to check out in the video description. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. Pretty excited to play a new game, especially an MMO. I've kind of been waiting for this for a little bit of time. And yeah, my expectations are not too high, but feeling pretty good about it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys check out what's going on with the game, and see you guys tomorrow.